Mitch Johnson was absolutely getting onto this team during this past game. He was pretty furious, right? When they were making mistakes, he was getting into their stuff. And he did a phenomenal job of making really good lineup changes mid-game, adjusting mid-game. One of which that comes to mind is in the fourth quarter when Steph Castle began to struggle. He immediately put in Julian Champagnie and Dylan Harper just to put a little pressure off of Castle a little bit. But one thing he didn't do was sit Castle. He made sure he played through it. But overall, I think it's becoming apparently obvious Castle isn't a point guard. But we do have a good, I think we genuinely have a good coach in Mitch Johnson. I won't go as far as to say he's great or he's elite or nothing like that, right? Like there's certain people that make, decisions, and I can say it right off the bat. Like Brian Wright, we've said that he's good, or I've said he's good for a very long time now. Before the rebuild, I thought he was a really good GM. Mitch Johnson, really early on, but he looks good. He looks like he's doing a very fine job. And I like the lineups out there. I think he's been pretty creative. So let's take a look at what he has to say. Ooh. Oh, ooh.
You guys kind of put that.
All right. I didn't hear a word at that beginning.
Seemed like you guys kind of put that one away by locking down defensively at the end. Would you kind of speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I think. Excuse me. I think our half-court defense.
He needs cough drops, man. He needs so many cough drops. I'm not gonna put the Batman on him this time. I'm gonna be respectful. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he's sick. He's sick. He's real sick.
This was actually probably pretty dang good all night. It felt like the turnovers, when we didn't give ourselves a chance to get set is probably when it felt like they went on some runs. They made a couple shots. Murray Boyles hit some threes above the quadrant that he's a good player, but was probably, we take away something from Ingram and Barrett and Barnes at some point, someone's going to get a shot, and so he gets credit for that. But to hold that team to 103 and keep them out of transition off the boards is a pretty strong performance by those guys as a group.
One thing I really like is how this has nothing to do with what he just said. But I really liked how they came out and played. Like, they came in really aggressive. They wanted to be the aggressors. They wanted to be the bullies, because the game prior was not the case. Like, the Nets came in, like, beating us up, and I was kind of shocked that at one point they only had a 6-point lead because they were up on our stuff. But the Spurs wanted to be the aggressors at the beginning of this one, and it shows a good coach that they resonated with it, and they came out and played as hard as they played. So it was really nice to see. And by the way, let's see. Adrian says you start Sohan because he's our starter, in my opinion. You do not have to add in your opinion on that one. Like, that's just facts. Yeah, that's just facts. He's a starter. Like, but yeah, I don't know if they start him right off the bat because of the injury, but we'll see. But he's a starter undoubtedly.
It's the first time in 89 games that Wemby didn't have a block, but yet it seems like he was having one of his best defensive games. Is it getting to a point where you think teams just aren't challenging him anymore?
Some teams do and some teams don't. Some teams do and some teams don't. If you're I don't know. I don't even know what the answer is to that. I don't know what you do. I don't know how you're supposed to go about this, right? Like, all you can hope for is, at least you on the defensive end, is to double team them and force somebody else to beat you, for them to make the right reads, make the right cuts, or for Wemby to make the right reads, players make the right cuts, and they just beat you that way. But on the other end, I have no idea what the answer is to that. Like, seriously, I have no idea what the answer is to trying to score in the paint. I don't know. I saw one play in which Jakob Poeltl kind of blocked out Wemby so one of his teammates could get it to the rim, and that was nice. I was like, maybe you can do something like that. But I don't know. I don't know how you handle Wemby. But we'll see. He's gotten so much better, but we'll see. We're gonna come across teams that do a good job, and we'll know like what worked and what didn't. Because right now I have no idea what the answer is to that. Just pray, I guess.
I mean, I would think that would be part of the game plan at some point. It's tough because he has such a good feel. But yeah, and I think, sometimes it's just the games take on different personalities, and I don't think when he gets 12 blocks like the team was trying to say, hey, let's go challenge this guy around the rim. But yeah, it is funny how that happens. You think it feels like he can block every shot, and that he had one, and he impacted the game all night long that he was on the floor defensively.
It's a good test for the team to go against a team that'll play 5 out and try to pull Vic away.
What? Wait, what? Clan the Sohan fan added again. Mick, what's funny is I saw a comment the other day and somebody said, well, Clan only likes certain players because if they end up being good, then that means that he was right or whatever. And it's could it really just be the fact that I think these players are going to be good? I mean, do I do this with everybody? No. I didn't get on here and tell you guys Malachi Branham is going to be top tier or anything like that. I didn't do it with Blake Wesley. I had to kind of wait and see a little bit. I don't do it with just any player. I do it with the ones that I genuinely think are going to be really great. And thus far, the last 3 has been Derek White, which, I mean, come on. And I know a lot of people didn't like him at first. But it's been Derek White, Josh Primo, which he just screwed up his career. There's nothing I can say about that. There's nothing. Yeah, you could say I'm wrong on that. That's fine. But I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. I had no idea that would happen. And Sohan, right? But I don't think Sohan's a star. I don't think he's a superstar. I just think that he is our version of Draymond. And this type of player, you need him in playoffs, and you need them in the finals. They come in handy. So that's all it is. And a lot of people will say he's bad, but you can't look at the box score with someone like that. So that's why I go against it so often. But the idea that I like Sohan just because, that's not true. Or just because I think, if he ended up being great, I don't think he'll be great. I think he's a really great role player, but I don't think he'll be a great. You know what I mean? Even when I said if he made an all-star appearance, I said that in the realm of Wemby, because when you have a superstar like Wemby, a lot of times guys from your roster, if you're successful enough and you make it to the finals or whatnot, those guys start to get a little bit more recognition, and people want to see them, and they end up making an all-star appearance. That's what I said. It could happen. Plenty of players make it all-star for myriad of reasons. Is DeJounte Murray a real all-star? I don't think so. Just to be honest, I watched those games all season long. That season, he was not a legitimate all-star, right? You put winning in the mix, and people will see you in a different lens. So that's all I'm saying.
From the rim protection roles, a good test for the rest of the guys to figure out how are we going to step up when Wemby can't be at the rim.
Yeah, I think that we'll definitely see that a lot as we have in the past. I think it was also just a good test in terms of, again, different groups. Biz gave us 14 good minutes. Jordan McLaughlin, Carter Bryant gave us 10-plus minutes, and we needed them. We had a hard-fought game last night and quick turnaround, and we needed them. And I thought Harrison Barnes did a commendable job also. He guarded. Harrison
Barnes was really good. What happened to Rob Dillingham? He can't guard. He's too small. That's what happened to him. I was very confused when we first draft. You can go back to that live stream when we first drafted Rob Dillingham. I calmed down because I didn't want Rob Dillingham, but I calmed down. And I was like, okay, then maybe the Spurs really like him, and there got to be some guards that we're getting rid of or something. Because I was like, it make a lot of sense to me at first. But a lot of Spurs fans wanted Rob Dillingham, which I didn't really care too much. Yeah, too small. Not good enough defensively. He's really hard to play. And at least getting bigger and bigger. You got to be really talented to be small and make it in the NBA nowadays. He's hurt. That's fine. But they definitely wasn't playing him initially at all. So, yeah, he's not going to get playing time.
Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes for a lot of the night and made them work, and then also hit some big shots for us down the stretch. So I think, the game plan execution with that of trying to stay to our identity defensively and not get too far extended was definitely a good test. We'll probably continue to see that.
This might be a silly question. It is a silly question. 4 games in.
Great.
But a lot of the guys in that locker room have not had a stretch like this, four wins in a row. Is part of the job just to keep them grounded and not getting too excited about, the start to the season?
Yeah, it's hard. We have young players that are good, and there's a lot of teams doing this league, and there's...
He hurt his nose. I just looked it up. I know he hurt his nose. Fractured his nose.
a certain level of enthusiasm, excitement, energy in young people, period, right? So sometimes it's a superpower and it's for good, and sometimes we need to take a deep breath and compose ourselves and show some poise, and sometimes we need to be held accountable of not getting ahead of ourselves. But these guys right now have done a good job since the start of training camp of just taking it day by day and not trying to ride the ebbs and flows and the roller coasters of the emotions of the long season.
Coach, you guys build a big...
Lord knows that was not the case first season, right? Like, Wemby was so excited after our first win, and that has not been the case. It seems like everyone, very reminiscent of what Chris Paul taught them, is that you're supposed to win. You know what I mean? Like, that's the main thing. Like, you're supposed to win. You need to go into these games expecting to win. That's like bare minimum. That's baseline. That's basically showing up to the game. Would you get excited about showing up to the game? Then don't get excited about winning. You're supposed to win. You're winners. That's what you do. And they're really taking that to heart. Like, you can see them having fun. You can see them enjoying it. But it is not carrying over into the next game. Obviously. Like, look at how they took care of the Nets. And in this game, Spurs of last season would have won and then went into the next game and looked like crap, right? But they went into this next game as aggressive as they've been all season long. Like, it's nonstop. They're going to bring it every single time. And it's a beautiful thing to see, because when the starters sit, the role of Dylan Harper and Keldon Johnson is to continue that pressure, and they continue the tone. The tone continues. It doesn't stop. So you kind of punch them in the mouth all game long. Now, can you keep that up for the entirety of a game? We've seen it once. We've seen it once thus far, and they did against the Mavericks. But other than that, we haven't seen it. So, and it's super early in the season, so you don't want to get wore down too much. But, yeah.
Lead early and had to fight through a third quarter offensive slowdown. What impressed you the most about how the group handled that particular stretch and closed it out?
I think we've had a couple times, as well as tonight, of just a good competitive response at times. NBA games are long. You know, when you get up early, it'd be nice to just stay up the whole game, but typically it doesn't happen. The coaches and teams and players in this league are really good, and they're typically going to go on a run. Sometimes you hit a rough patch, as you alluded to, and I think to continue to find ways to stop their runs and to start our runs is something we're just really trying to.
I'll say it. I said it 50 million times. I'll say it again. Getting Fox back is going to help this team significantly. My God, significantly. Like he said, these runs happen. You get a little, but what really hurts us is when we get in a slump and then we don't have a legitimate point guard out there. You know, like when Dylan Harper's out there, everything looks better. Just to be honest. But when we have to lean on Castle right now, it's not as great. If you have to lean on McLaughlin, which he's good. He's been good. He's been good, by the way. I think he's been good. But he's good in the Trey Jones sense of good, right? Like game manager good. But you need somebody that can actually control the pace, control the tempo, you know? And know when to attack, when to hold back, when to pass out, you know? And right now, Castle just isn't that, and that's okay. But yeah, I think that's what's hurting us the most is mistakes just compile on top of each other. It doesn't just stop. Yeah, I like them too.
Commit to. And a lot of times that's not making the shot or doing something with the basketball in your.
Castle has that shoot first mentality. Kind of. I think it's because passing isn't his like primary skill. He's fine at it, but he's not. Yeah, he's not a point. That's all it is. He's just not a point.
Hands.
Since you guys are undefeated now in preseason and regular.
Sorry, somebody says Castle isn't a point, but I do like that he's getting these minutes. Kind of how Jeremy, while playing bad, helped his overall game. Yeah, for sure. But unfortunately, we're kind of in a different situation than we were with Jeremy, where we knew the Spurs were not necessarily trying to tank, right? But we knew that the Spurs were not going to do anything that season, right? I mean, at least I knew, like, we weren't going to make a play-in. We weren't not going to make the playoffs. So you can kind of afford to do that. But right now, like, I guess we're winning, so I guess it doesn't matter. But we're in a different tier right now, right? Like, we don't have time to, like, experiment too much. We're trying to make it to the playoffs and be successful in the playoffs. So with that, you know, you can't get too much experimenting. But that's about to change real quick. Fox will be back in not that long.
Season, are you seeing early signs of the culture that you've been trying to build here?
No. We've played well, but I'm not going to say that.
What was the question?
Commit to. And a lot of times that's not making the shot or doing something with the basketball in your hands.
Since you guys are undefeated now in preseason and regular season, are you seeing early signs of the culture that you've been trying to build here?
No.
Do you see early signs of the culture you're trying to build here now that you're undefeated? Why would he say no to that? You guys know why he would say no to that? I guess just being humble? I mean, I guess the no for me would be the culture has been what the culture is, you know? And we are building. But even saying like, yeah, we're building a culture almost seems as if like we're building a new culture. But the culture is what it is. Like, it hasn't changed necessarily. Like, the pieces have changed. The talent has changed. The coaching staff has changed. But the overall culture of what is expected out of being a Spur, the fundamentals, I mean, that's just there. I don't think that changes. And it's definitely not a better culture now that you have Mitch Johnson. The culture just is. Mental mistakes? You think that's what it is? He responded saying the turnovers? Oh, crap. Sorry.
We've played well, but I'm not going to say that.
Two days off between now and Miami. Is there any chance any of the 5 guys who are out?
Oh, you guys are just saying that we still get 20 turnovers. That's not culture. I don't know. Funny how 4 games and that one clip of Mitch changed my whole opinion on him. That I will say that one clip. I know that's silly because we don't get to see him day to day. But this is the thing. I went off of testimonials, okay? Like, off of Mitch Johnson, you couldn't go off of last season. There was nothing for me to go off of last season because that wasn't his team. So some people will say, oh, you're making excuses for him. Whatever. It wasn't his team. He was just trying his best to keep that ball rolling. We didn't know if Popovich would get back. But I will say we looked into all the testimonials about him. All of the players that were currently on the team that talked about him, previous coaches that talked about him. We just got to take their word for that, right? They wouldn't just give him praise, just give him praise. And then pile on top of it that he is his mentor is Popovich, right? Mentor, and Popovich doesn't just bring anybody on his coaching staff. Like, you got to be top tier. So there was lots of things outside of Mitch Johnson that we could say and create a image to say, okay, he's probably pretty good, right? But that clip, I do think that was a great clip. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that was a phenomenal clip showing, because at that point, what I really liked about that clip is the Spurs were up by 25. Like, the way that he was talking was almost if like it was a close game. We were up by 25. We were destroying them, and that was his response. Like, he sounded like a freaking drill sergeant, bro. Like, he was really good. He's a great coach. I think I want to lean and say he is. I'm just gonna keep saying good for now. I really like Mitch Johnson. I'm just going to lean into good. I'm leaning to good. And by mid-season, I'll probably be on that great side. But I'm going to lean into good.
Might be back by then.
It's a good question. It's hard, too, because then we have, I believe, 2 more days off. You have this time. You don't have time in this league. When you get it, it almost feels weird. But it's a good time for this team. It's like a good bye week in the NFL. I don't know, but
Exactly. Good for first year is amazing. Yeah.
I hope we continue to get the troops back, and if we don't, at least these guys can get some rest.
2-2-2.
Wait, say that again?
This team, when you get it, it almost feels.
Might be back by then. Between now and Miami, is there any chance any of the 5 guys who are out?
Okay, so I heard, he said now in Miami. I heard that it won't be Miami. Hold on. I think it might be Sunday. And obviously he wouldn't say. He's not going to say. Let's see here. Full schedule. Yeah, Thursday. I didn't hear Thursday. I think this is my guess. Based on what I've heard, it could be completely wrong. It could be completely off, but we'll see if I'm right. What I've heard is Thursday, Olynyk, and then Sunday could be Sohan and Fox. That's what I'm hearing. We'll see what happens, though. I don't know if the Spurs will want to, wait it out until there's another home game. I don't think they'll do that. But I think they're aiming for Sunday. Thursday might be a little too soon. I'll be shocked. But I heard Olynyk might be back by Thursday.
Might be back by then.
It's a good question. It's hard, too, because then we have, I believe, 2 more days off. You have this time. You don't have time in this league. When you get it, it almost feels weird. But it's a good time for this team. It's like a good bye week in the NFL. I don't know, but I hope we continue to get the troops back, and if we don't, at least these guys can get some rest.
2-2-2, right? The next.
That sounded like it could be. It sounded like he's saying it could be Thursday, but I think it's Sunday. But Olynyk might be good Thursday.
After the next 2.
I don't know. It's hard to get that far ahead, but yeah.
Is there something from practice that you see is really carrying over to game days that you like a lot?
I think the first day of training camp, we talked about competitiveness and we talked about paying attention to details, and they're trying. We can be better. We can continue to raise our standard and be more consistent, but they are trying.
You're playing from ahead a lot. That's kind of like a luxury for the top teams in the league, and it takes them a while to learn how to not.
That makes me nervous, playing from ahead constantly. It makes me nervous a little bit. But we did get the crap slapped out of us that last game at the beginning. So
Blow those leads. You were kind of talking about not getting bored and that kind of stuff. What's been the message you've been giving to the team when the opponent is coming back and maybe even takes a lead like you had against Brooklyn to get them to not completely full?
Yeah, honestly, it's really the same even before you get the lead. I think it's just sometimes it takes a little bit more.
Yeah, I know what
stronger communication at a certain time, whether that's just to get back to what you were doing to that point or to just take a deep breath and
it's easy to take your foot off the gas pedal, right? Like to not get too high. It has to be hard. I mean, the Spurs are really going on runs. One of the most awesome things about this season is that we didn't start off at home. These aren't all home wins. They started off the Dallas Mavericks one wasn't that hostile. But I will say the Pelicans game was a very hostile situation, and they still managed to win it. I think it's very easy to get the motivation, have your communication right when your back is against the wall or, you're in enemy territory, right? It's very easy to, communicate because you forced to communicate. But in a situation where you're at home and you're up by 20, 30, you're having a good time, the fans are going crazy, right? You got, Nacho Libre over there, dancing his butt off. You're having a good time, right? You're having a really good time. But then, wait, I probably should, I said in the other segment, I probably should emphasize what I meant by Nacho Libre because literally that sounded racist. No, I'm talking about this guy. Yeah, I'm talking about this guy. Okay. So before people were like, oh my God, he just called like random Latinos, Nacho Libre. No, I was talking about this guy. I was literally talking about this guy. Okay. You got him dancing, having a good time. But yeah, so when you have stuff like that going on, like it's very easy to lose track and not stay as aggressive. But yeah.
Do less is
Having a good
typically
time.
how it happens. But for us, it's going to take time. We haven't played together. Jeff alluded to it. It's just reality that some of these guys haven't been in this position. Forget even winning
Miami's going to be without Tyler Hero.
or losing, just playing big roles in this league. So it will take time. And if we have the competitive response and right approach with that, along with putting our energy in the right spots, you can have a little success while you learn.
Coach, back to the start of the season, maybe on the other end of the kind of keeping them grounded, as much success as the franchise has enjoyed over the years, I think this is maybe only the fourth time or third time that a Spurs team has started 4-0. So I know, yes, it's early, but anything to be.
It's 82. Like, I think it's fun to like think about a little bit, but like, it's a lot of games throughout the season. It doesn't matter that much. 4-0 is like nothing. Like in the NFL, that's huge. In the NBA, that's nothing. You can lose that in an instant.
Said about that and the good start that this group is putting together.
No. We've played good basketball. We finished a couple games, but again, there's been a lot of close games. Ball can go both ways. We got to keep getting better. But we've had some good competitive responses at times early on.
Keeping it humble. So he doesn't see a culture shift yet, and he's definitely not going to go as far as to say that 4-0 means something. That's really good. You know what else is good? Today's sponsor, Sleeper. Big shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring this segment. As I always say, guys, if you are interested in daily fantasy sports at all, check out Sleeper. Right now, I'm just on the social media segment, which it shows a bunch of highlights of what's going on around the league, different stats, injury reports, news, updates, just overall everything. And when there's a game actually going on, and let's just say you got to go away from the TV for a second, you can click on the San Antonio Spurs game and you can actually watch it play by play. Not the actual footage, because the NBA is very stingy with that, but you can see like exactly what's going on. So even in this game where it was who is this right here? I can't really see from the Cavs and the Pistons, you can see play by play, and at the top, it's not showing it right now because the game is off, but you can see like who has the ball, what's going on and all that good stuff. So if you guys are interested in that at all, please go check it out. And if you don't care about the social media part and you do care about the daily fantasy sports part, all you have to do is go over to the picks section. You can go to any sport, NBA in particular, obviously. All the games are, they got the games for tomorrow. So yeah, you can do more, less, all that good stuff. And yeah, so if you guys are interested, you'll get $20 entry for free. So you get $20 right off the bat if you play. But also, like I said, just use the promo code CLAN and you get 100% match up to $100. So big shout out to today's sponsor. And yeah, let's get it.